further Krishna describes, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavasthita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This whole cosmic order is nothing but Krishna's energy. Everything is Krishna's energy, as we have understood in the 7th and 8th chapter. There are Krishna's different energies, the inferior energy, which is material energy, and the superior energy, the living beings. So this material universe is nothing but a combination of these two energies. And Krishna, his potencies are spread everywhere. Therefore Krishna is telling, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. Even though Krishna is there in the spiritual world, personally he is engaged in his spiritual activities, his energies are working everywhere. Just like the king, his role is existing everywhere in the kingdom. In every department of the kingdom, it is the king who has made the rules and regulations, and his presence is felt in every department by the rules he has made. Even though the king may not be personally present in each and every department, one feels the presence of the king by the rules and regulations he has made, and everyone abides by it. In the same way, this whole cosmic order is functioning so nicely because the Lord has willed it, he has desired it, and his energies are carrying out everything perfectly. So in that way, Krishna's potencies are everywhere. Krishna is spread everywhere. Krishna cannot be seen directly through our gross material senses because Krishna is completely spiritual. We can perceive Krishna only by our spiritual senses. Now our senses are all sleeping. Once by performing devotional service, when we awaken our spiritual senses, we can perceive Krishna, we can see Krishna, we can talk with Krishna. Till then, through the blunt material senses, we cannot see Krishna. So further, Krishna says, Nacha matstani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram bhuta bharnacha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavana. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. So Krishna is telling that he is the source of everything and everything is resting in him. And then he is the maintainer of all living beings. Although he is doing all these things by his will, everything is not resting on him physically. It is all carried out by his material energies. So in that way, Krishna is maintaining everything, and just by will of Krishna, everything is manifested. When Krishna understands that the living beings who are his parts wants to enjoy independently, he wills that let there be facilities given to those living beings who want to enjoy independently, and immediately the energies carry out and this whole cosmic creation comes into existence. So in this way, the Lord provides facilities for all living beings to enjoy according to their desires. So further, Krishna, he gives an example. Yathakasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matstani tyupadharaya. As the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space, know that in the same manner all beings rest in me. So Krishna is giving an example. The wind blows in different directions, in different speeds, but still it rests in the sky. It is not beyond the space, it doesn't go beyond the sky. It is always within the sky. In the same way, different living beings, they wander in this whole material creation from middle planetary system to lower planetary system, or to higher planetary system, and they also migrate from one species to another. So whatever may be happening, it all rests on Krishna's energy, Krishna's material energy, and in this way, they are within the energy of Krishna. So further Krishna says, Sarvabhutani kaunteya Prakritim yanti mamikam Kalpakshaye punastani kalpadau visrajamyaham. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, every material manifestation enters into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I again create. So, Lord Brahma, who is the first living being in this material universe, he lives for 100 years. That is, Brahma's one day or 12 hours is nothing but 4,300,000,000 years. That is 12 hours of Brahma. So, that same duration is Brahma's night. That is nothing but totally the 24 hours of Brahma is 8,600,000,000 years. So, that is 24 hours, one day of Brahma. That if we multiply into 30, that is 1 month of Brahma. And if we multiply that into 12, that is 1 year of Lord Brahma. When we multiply that into 100, that is the complete 100 years of Lord Brahma. Once Brahma dies, the entire material manifestation enters into the transcendental body of the Lord, and whichever state the different living beings were existing, they will immediately enter into the body, and again during the next creation, they will all manifest in the same state in which they were existing in the previous creation. So, all the living beings with the different species of living beings in different states of existence are manifest simultaneously with the material creation. It's not that there was a gradual evolution of living beings. As the modern science describes, there was some single cellular organisms, and gradually there were multiple multicellular organisms, and in this way gradually different species developed. This is our incorrect understanding about different varieties of species. How the species came into existence? They were all simultaneously manifested at the beginning of creation by the will of the Lord. In whichever state they were existing in the past creation, exactly in that same state they're manifest again, because that is their desire. They want to enjoy in that way. The Lord gives them facilities immediately when the creation begins, and the living beings, they engage in their material activities. Further, Krishna says, Prakritim swam avashtabhya visrajami punah punah bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakriter vashat. The whole cosmic order is under me. By my will it is manifested again and again, and by my will it is annihilated at the end. So, one of the energies of Krishna is this material energy. He lets loose this material energy in the form of Mahat Tattva, and he enters this Mahat Tattva as Karanodakashai Vishnu or Mahavishnu, and lies in the Karana Jala, in the causal ocean, in his transcendental sleep, Yoga Nidra, and he exhales innumerable universes, and he enters into each and every universe as Garbhodakashai Vishnu, and then he creates from the navel his lotus sprouts, and the first living being of each and every universe is born as Lord Brahma. Within the stem of that lotus, 14 planetary systems are created, and different varieties of bodies are provided to the living beings who wanted to enjoy in different ways. And the Lord enters into each and every heart of the living being as Kshirodakashai Vishnu, Paramatma, and he enters into each and every atom. In this way, the Lord is involved in this material creation in the incarnation of these three Purusha avatars. The original Supreme Lord Krishna himself is not directly involved in this material creation, but he expands himself as Purusha avatars, and he creates, maintains and annihilates the whole material creation. So in that way, the Lord takes care of the affairs of this material world through his material energy. So further Krishna says, Nachamam tani karmani nibadhanti dhananjaya udasinavadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. Even though the Lord is involved in this material creation indirectly, because without the will of the Lord nothing can happen in this world, not even a single blade can move without the will of the Lord. So This whole creation comes into existence because the Lord glances over the material energy. Without the glance of the material energy, nothing can happen. And the different living beings are in different states of existences, in different varieties of species. Some are suffering, some are enjoying the material pleasures in that way. So many things are happening in this material world, but the Lord is not involved in those activities. He is not responsible for various pains and pleasures of those living beings. Just like a high court judge, he gives different judgments in different cases. In some case, he punishes the criminals very severely. In some cases, he awards some compensation to some person. So we can see the judge himself is giving different judgments in so varieties of cases throughout the day, but he himself is aloof from the pains and pleasures one receives from his judgments. In the same way, the Lord, even though he, without his will, without his plans, nothing happens in this world, but he himself is not involved in the pains and pleasures of the living beings who are involved in these material activities within this material creation. So further Krishna says, Maya adhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So very clearly here Krishna is telling, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sa chara acharam. Material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and non-moving living beings. So material nature is working, but the direction is Krishna's direction. Krishna is not directly involved in the activities of this world, but he is remotely directing. He has directed everything perfectly. And because of his direction, winds are blowing, sun is rising in time, seasons are changing in time. So in that way, the material laws are perfectly acting because the Lord has given the directions. And he is not directly involved. Just like a flower produces the fragrance, and a person who comes near the flower is having the power of smelling. So because of the power of his smelling, he gets the fragrance of the flower, and he can smell that fragrance. Even though he smells the fragrance, the flower is different and the power of smelling is different. They are disconnected. In the same way, the Lord glances, he wills that this creation happens for providing facilities for the living beings to enjoy or suffer in their own ways. But he is not directly involved in the pains and pleasures. But without his direction, nothing happens. Without his direction, material nature cannot work. Without his direction, material nature cannot do anything. Just like modern scientists, they believe that everything happened. The whole origin of life began from matter is completely wrong, because matter is dead, inferior energy, it cannot do anything. Unless there is a spiritual touch, the power of glance of Krishna is needed. Only then matter acts. Without Krishna's glance, nothing can happen.